Oh my god, what is happening? Guys, do you see this? There's two suns. What is this?
It's really two suns, Jen.
Oh my god. Wait, what is happening? Wait, why are there two suns? I'm so confused. It's two suns, I promise you.
Alright, you guys have to see this. Okay? Watch.
What in the world?
I didn't believe it until I saw it. Two suns. I thought it was some kind of internet hoax type deal. I don't know what it means, but tell me what it is.
Most mainstream websites will say the second sun is just some sort of optical refraction, not fully explained by science. However, flat earthers can more likely explain it correctly, because we believe in a firmament, which is the likely explanation. This video will attempt to provide a scientific explanation from a flat earth perspective. This video will also provide a scientific explanation for the apparent discrepancy between the actual direction of the sun in the south, and the apparent direction of the sun. Most of you are aware of the Final Experiment project. The Final Experiment is a test to confirm if there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Some of the top flat earthers and top globe earthers will take a trip to Antarctica to see for themselves. I don't know if there is 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I'm just thinking ahead just in case there is. I have been emailing the guy behind the Final Experiment as well as top flat earth influencers such as Jaron Campanella from Journalism, and have been discussing the experiment and the plans for the experiment. Anyway, let's get into the video. Don't forget to see description and comments for more, and to like and share the video with as many people as possible.
I've shown you how the sun rotates around and the sunset and sunrise times are accurate. However, I need to show you now how the angle of the sun is seen at a different place to what the map shows in real time. So the real angle of the sun is different to what this map shows. Now, how does this happen? I did put out a video showing what the real angles that we view the sun at is. Now, people have come back to me saying, oh, well, how can you not see two suns if you've got the real sun refracting its light and then reflecting it off the dome? Now, this video is going to show and prove to you that it's possible to have a lens that can hide the real object and still have it reflecting off a dome-like surface. So the picture you're looking at right now has got a glass of water sitting on the floor, and underneath it is a yellow square piece of paper, which represents the sun. Now, you've got a mirror on the side of it there, which is reflecting this yellow piece of paper, which is under the glass of water. Yet it's hidden to the camera directly, so our visible sight. So where you'd think you would see two yellow pieces of paper, you can't. You actually only see an object if the light rays of that object are heading directly towards your eye. If the light rays are bent or bounced into a different direction, you do not see the object. It gets hidden, invisible. Now, of course, the glass of water is not an exact replica of what the dome is. What I'm showing you is, this is plain science, that you can make a lens, which would be the dome above us, which can hide the real sun, the real object, but bounce that object off at angles to you off a reflective dome. This simple experiment proves this quite clearly. So, particularly at sunrises and sunsets, we see the reflected sun coming off the dome. As the sun reaches around and comes closer to midday, the refracted object still coming out of the dome, and still not the real object, but it becomes closer to what the real object is rotating around. So at no stage do you actually see the real sun. You're just seeing either a reflected or refracted object through a lens. And this is how the sun may work around the flat Earth map. It's a scientific experiment proving to you that perhaps there's other possibilities than this globe model. And the more you look into the flat Earth, the more you can actually find reasonable answers to all the questions that we all have.
Since your dinky little sun can never illuminate this entire fantasy ice wall at once, this completely obliterates your model.
Here is the time and date light put on a flat Earth map. And this is the pattern that it makes. This is June, and then it goes back. And this is December, where it kind of wraps around. This is just a dome where I'm moving a light in and out.
So you'll see here the coffee cup caustic is this, what we see here. And as you get closer to the outside of your lens, you get a lit up area. When talking about the coffee cup caustic, which is when you get too close to this outside and everything lights up. And that's a known effect. And when you see this, or we see this, and you go to a coffee cup caustic, all right, so you see this effect that it's happening coming out of this glass. It's happening in this coffee cup. No, it doesn't mean we live in a coffee cup. We need to start looking around the ideas of the lens, of water, of reflection, of refraction. That's what's happening, is you've got the light source on the other side lighting up the entire other portion. Look at sun arcs, it's the same thing. This is almost to a T, it's identical. Now, they want to tell you some nonsense about this, that it's ice crystals in the sky and that they're at the perfect angle. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
So here is a nifty little model made by someone by the name of Walter Bislin, and it explains all celestial phenomena on a plane Earth. This includes eclipses, equinox positions of the sun and the moon positions throughout the year, visibility of the sun and the moon, directions of the sun set and the moon set, the fact the sun doesn't change angular size, southern star trails, all positions of the stars, everything. It explains everything. Very interesting. This was done by an anti-flat earther. Here's the truth about this story, by the way. He worked on this for a long time trying to debunk flat earth. He found out he really couldn't once he took the azimuthal grid and put it on the flat earth. So I kind of just gave up and said it would be impossible because light would have to bend. Okay, so let's look at some of this. This is, of course, a local sun and moon moving over top of a plane Earth. Of course, the sun would not light up the entire Earth. That's ignorant. Yep, has a radius of light. And there's something called attenuation of light. Light does not travel forever. That's an insane, absurd claim. So, seems pretty simple concept here. Let's move on. So you have what's called an azimuthal grid of vision. You can only see so far. You have a limited view in all directions, 360-degree field of view. And this is what we see the world through the lens of our personal, people have coined it, dome. More specifically and more accurately, it is an azimuthal grid of vision or observability. Azimuthal grid of vision. We will cover what that means. As you can see, we view the sky through this azimuthal grid. There's Polaris at the correct angle relative to that latitude as the stars move over top. And if you move around, you'll actually see exactly where your positions of the sun is. When you move over to this closer latitude, you'll be at 45 degrees in the middle of the north, and the equator, of course, will be at 45 degrees looking at Polaris. It's exactly how we see. Everything matches it. Every single celestial phenomenon perfectly matches what we see through our azimuthal grid on a plane. Literally all celestial phenomena can now be mapped on the flat Earth. Here's another depiction here. All right, you gotta pay attention. Of course, PAD here stands for personal atmospheric dome. Now pay attention to the sun and the moon inside of your azimuthal grid. That's the sun and the moon that we see. Of course, it's not going to really change angular size. It's at the same limit that you have for that day. And that will always fluctuate relative to the atmosphere slightly, just like when you put glasses on. But once it reaches within that atmospheric limit inside of your azimuthal grid, you're not going to see angular size change, and you're going to see it appear to change in a slightly different direction. This is just the way that curved optics works. This is exactly why we see the sun appear to set where it does over top of a flat Earth. In reality, the light is not even physically bending. It's an optical effect. This is a very key component. Okay. This is the missing piece to flat Earth. Okay, now I'm sure you guys have seen this nonsense. This is not a Professor Clown show.
Now that we showed how the sun works, let's see more amazing videos of a second sun or reflection.
There's a persistent belief in alchemaic and hermetic tradition in the existence of two suns, a hidden one of pure philosophical gold consisting of the essential fire conjoined with ether, and the apparent one of profane material gold. The dark consuming fire of the material sun leads it to be called the dark or black sun. I think it's time to start breaking down some of these cultures that have had the similar mythical motifs regarding multiple suns. So the first one would be the Australian Aboriginals, the legend of the twin suns. Many ancient cultures have myths and legends delineating the existence of multiple suns and moons. Many of these have common motifs, suggesting that there is a commonality supporting the idea that ancient man may have observed something tangible that we in the modern era may not be aware of. Ancient man was very much more in touch with nature than we currently are. Could it be possible that some very important aspect of nature has been hidden from the common people by the royal or elite bloodlines that control our world still to this day?
Other cultures that have very similar myths and legends with these motifs, and which relate stuff to there being a second sun or a black sun per se. There's Taiwanese cultures with legends about this stuff, Japanese, the Eskimos, Inuits, the Norse, the Greeks, and there's many other lesser known tribes and groups.
Somebody got to explain to me, how does this make sense?
There's something going on over here, right? But the sun is over here setting right now. The sun is over there setting. What the fuck is that?
Ooh, look at that. Look at that. I know you see that. Can I zoom in on this?
Oregon coast. Two suns in the sky.
I am out here in September, and as you can see, there's obviously a really very clear planet.
I recommend that if you want to research flat earth proof, you use Rumble, Bishute, and Yandex, not Google. Google hides the truth. You can also bypass the YouTube algorithm with the playlists I made.